Roger Reynolds. Playin the Fiddle. Playin the Fiddle, Roger Reynolds.
Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, Playin the Fiddle. What's that noise? What's that noise? Just me playing the fiddle. I'm going to cover a couple items here. The difference between a fiddle and a violin, my approach to fiddle music, the methods and the mechanics behind fiddle playing. First of all, the difference between a fiddle and a violin. If you take your violin somewhere, you have to say, I brought my violin. If you take your fiddle somewhere, you have to say, I brang my fiddle. Or you can use the pluperfect subjunctive, I brung the fiddle. The approach to fiddle music. The approach to fiddle music I do with as little physical effort as possible. There's a lot of energy involved in fiddle playing, but it's all spiritual and mental. The key to my fiddle playing is getting the sounds with as little physical effort, using as few muscles, moving them as little as possible, and as slowly as possible. The mechanics behind fiddle playing. First of all, balance and posture. Get a good balance. I have 4 contact points on my feet, the heel and sole of each foot. Try to keep that even. Back straight up. Provide a rock-solid balance for that. The right arm. The right arm, the grip on the fiddle, the grip I use, I try to get a nice wide grip. You don't squeeze the bow. You just hold it as lightly as possible, just enough pressure to keep the bow from falling out of the arm, out of the hand. There are 7 angles of attack on a fiddle. You have 4 curved strings here, and the bow has to hit each of the 4 strings. There's a 1 angle of attack for each of the 4 strings, and 1 for each of the 2 double stops. A double stop is 2 strings played at the same time. The height of the bow is adjusted by this arm in the back of my right arm. That gets the height on the bow. Sometimes, occasionally, if there's a bow flipping back and forth between a string, I will adjust the height using the forearm up and down. Notes going back and forth, the inside elbow muscle moves back and forth for the bow movements for notes longer than an 8th note. For 8th notes, that muscle comes to an end, and the wrist muscle takes over for 8th notes. One muscle or the other, not both at the same time. The left arm is the idea is for the fingers to come straight down on the strings. The straighter down on the strings, the easier it is to play. To get that, I move my left elbow in as much as I can to get a good angle of attack on the strings. The hand should be as relaxed as possible. The fingers change strings. You change your notes by moving your fingers, not by moving your hand. The fingers are much more accurate. If you move your hand, you lose your center of balance for the strings. And now, the 2 keys to the musical universe. 17 years of bluegrass fiddle lessons for this. My instructor taught me the 2 keys to the musical universe. One is called squawk notes. What squawk notes are, if I put my finger down on a string but don't press down, it produces kind of a muffled sound. My instructor would have me play entire songs like that. Here's that beginning sound, which is squawk notes. Although that intonation doesn't sound that good, the pitch improves and the rhythm improves. Squawk notes teach me how to touch the strings as lightly as possible, how to lift the fingers up as little as possible, and how to move 1 finger at a time. Moving 1 finger at a time is an unnatural movement. In nature, we tend to move all fingers at the same time. The second key to the musical universe is speed, or more correctly, lack thereof. Slow down the song as much as you can. And I'm not talking 5 or 10%, I'm talking about 400 or 500%. So to correctly learn the song, slow it down as much as you can and use squawk notes. That will teach, and if you can't play it cleanly at that speed, then you need to slow it down twice as much. And you slow it down until you can play cleanly. The two keys to the musical universe. In conclusion, anybody want to take fiddle lessons? $15 a half hour. Yeah, I'm contest master.
Could we please have 2 minutes